when to push and when to pause. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Unbreakable. Well, Monday starts off our week, and we should be focusing on some different goals, some different things we're trying to pursue. Uh, this particular Monday, I usually practice what they call more money Monday marketing. So I focus on what sort of things that I need to put in place for the week in terms of how can I make some more money? What sort of marketing things do I need to do from networking to advertising to podcasting, those type of things. But there is also some actions that we do um, that's toxic for us, and really knowing when to give in and when to pause. And so I want to talk about the elements of what grit is first, and then compare that to what toxic grit is. So when you have grit, the definition kind of falls under this relentless combination of your passion, your push, your perseverance, the resilience, things that drives you to achieve your long-term goals, regardless of the obstacles, regardless of your setbacks, and regardless of your discomfort. And so you have to ask, first of all, do I have that type of grit? Because some people, when they get when they have discomfort, when they have setbacks, they quit, they fold, they stop pursuing. That means that they don't really have the grit necessarily to continue to drive regardless of the circumstances. And so that's what grit is. It kind of has four type of components to it. It has the passion, and that's just the ability to stay consistent to your commitment to pursue your long-term goals over a long haul. One of my particular goals was to build a relationship mall where people could go shopping and get uh, tools and strategies and solutions and answers for all of their relationship needs, from business to professional to personal. That's been my goal. I've been working on this since 2012. But when you build in a mall that services the world, it's not an overnight success, but I'm still pursuing it every day, podcasting, doing the unbreakable, and showing people the different components of how to overcome, introducing different tools is a part of that journey for marketing. And so that's one of the components. Perseverance. That's another one of the components that to be able to overcome. It's the discipline to keep going even when things are slow or invisible. I've been working on this, and just at 10 years, I started to see some progress. I started to see some systems develop. 10 years ago, I wasn't podcasting. 10 years ago, I wasn't marketing at the level I was. 10 years ago, I wasn't being invited to go to these different conferences and have the companies fly and pay, which has just been a great honor and a blessing. But that was more than 10 years in the game, and that was a part of the grit, the perseverance in it. And then it's the resilient, it's the ability to recover quickly from your failures. It's being able to adapt. It's being able to keep momentum going. And with the technology always changing, and you always have to learn. And sometimes that can be very discouraging, but you continue to push because you have grit. And then there is the endurance piece. I'm really glad that I had opportunity to uh, play sports, be a part of a team, a part of a brotherhood, because that endurance, that mental stamina, getting up, practicing at 5 o'clock in the morning, catching the bus, two buses, to go to practice, to be to practice about 5 in the morning. Then you have school, and that was just one sport, but you had to do your chosen sport after school. And so there is a mental stamina that creates, uh, uh, regardless of what the short term feeling is, you able to still service your long term goal. And that's what endurance is. You do a little bit at a time. You do 20 minutes at a time. You do 40 minutes at a time. You do what you can, but you do it consistently. And so grit is what keeps you moving when motivation gets tired. And so that's the definition of grit. And I kind of want to talk about the toxic grit. And uh, coaching point number one would be that relentless isn't always resilient. You know, sometimes pushing harder is the very thing that breaks you, because a lot of times healthy grit will fuel your purpose. But when you have toxic grit, that's fueled by your ego, or you trying to prove a point, or it's done out of fear. And that's never going to really help you when you are trying to win, but it's in the wrong way. It comes with sacrifices: your health, your mental stability, your relationships, your long term vision. And you're looking at it like, well, I'm going to prove this point, but really that might be the time for you to quit that particular activity and pause it so that you can regroup. So that's not the push, that's the time to pause when that becomes really powerful. And then just understanding that resilience is about being able to sustain something. It's not about putting yourself in harm's way and becoming self destructive. It's really about making the bravest movement possible and recovering, and then being able to do it again. And so, grit without wisdom really turns champions into casualties. And just understand that there's a time to push and there's a time to pause. And coaching point number two: pause is a power move. Stopping isn't always quitting, it's strategic. And sometimes you have to regroup. Like on Mondays, we take a look. We don't do the same things. I don't do the same things. My team doesn't do the same things. My marriage, we don't do the same things every week. Every Monday, we review what worked well last week, what didn't work well last week. And then we say, okay, well, let's do this week. Let's keep this, but let's add that. And so pausing lets you assess: are you fighting the right battles, or are you just being too stubborn to let go? And a lot of people are stubborn and they don't want to let go certain points, and they want to be right, which is usually the foundation of most arguments. I'm right, you're wrong. We're going to do it my way because it's better. And a lot of times people don't understand what the origin of something is. So they argue a lot of points and they never really get to the root of the problem. And that really is being burnt out from your blind spots and making emotional decisions when that's the time to really pause and take a look, review, and say, is this the best strategy? Or am I being stubborn because this is what I've learned and it sounds good to me? So just take that into um, consideration as you're moving forward, and just understand that just like in sports, a well-timed timeout can change the whole momentum of any game. If you're on a basketball court and they call a timeout and you come back out, that can change the momentum of the game and get it to the person's favor of who called the timeout. If you're in football and you're doing clock management or time management, you call a timeout, that's really a good strategy because it can freeze the kicker, it can put extra pressure on the team, it can play with the minds of the opponent because they don't know what you're doing next and they're just trying to anticipate what's going on. So a pause is very powerful. And then coaching point number 3, listen to your dashboard, not the crowd. Uh, 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 there are signs when to push and when to pause that you already know. You just gotta notice them, and your mind and your body will give you warning lights. Exhaustion, being cynical or very critical about something. That's really a sign of exhaustion. Your declining performance where you just so tired that I'm not going to do this, I just refuse to do that. That's a sign that you need to pause at something. And then the loss of joy. If you just are crabby and sour and sad and creating an environment that's people don't want to be around you because you're always down, that's a time that you're not listening to your dashboard. That's the time when you need to pause and really get under some type of coaching. And I'm not going to call it counseling, but I'm going to call it coaching because coaches and consultants, life coaches, business coaches, they have strategies that they've done if they've already been there, if it's got them fruit, and you need that type of elevation and uplifting. Sometimes your friends aren't the one that always to be around for you to help you with your pause, and so that they become a part of the crowd. And so those are the external voices that you don't want to listen to. You want to take a look at your internal voices, uh, and sometimes your external voice will say, just keep going or give up. But your dashboard really knows the truth. And so if you feel a little uncomfortable and you talking to person 1, and then now you telling person number 2, and then now you going to person number 3, that's telling you that's the crowd. And really, you probably need to do the opposite of that and focus on what your internal um, dashboard is saying. And just remember, ignore the noise and trust the signals. And so that's the coaching points for this week. Hey, we're going to be moving to uh, mornings at 5 a.m. I want people to get an opportunity to uh, hear the coaching tips as they start their day off. I'm excited to share them. I hope everybody had a really great weekend. I know that I did. I was at the Leadership Experience tour in Detroit, and I saw a lot of great people. I work with a lot of great people. They had opportunity to take the big stage, get their digital footage, work on their branding. There was classes all week. There was rehearsals all week. There was big interviews, Fox, NBC, ABC Sports, and interview, on stage plus interview, tapped in interviews. I mean, it was a production, and I'm exhausted, but I'm very excited, which is what's keeping me pushing here. And so I just hope everybody had a great weekend. Hey, drop in the comments what type of weekend you had, what sort of things you did that was uplifting. Did you get an opportunity to check out a game? Did you get an opportunity to learn something? Did you get an opportunity to get in nature and experience something great? Did you get a revelation about something? Did you realize something? Share that, because I know for a fact that people are watching, and people have been coming up to me and saying, hey, I really enjoy Unbreakable, you know, uh, and it's people that I never even thought that was watching. Even my sister said, I was watching, and when you said put a comment, I got off because I thought you saw me. So, comment and put some questions in there, and share with the audience. The whole purpose of this platform is to talk about things that, challenges us, and strategies that may have worked for you, or you may not know how to do some things. And just put those in the comment, and let's build this community where we begin to incorporate God's strategy into how we move forward and how we create champions, and have a great time without living like the rest of the fools around here. So, hey, I'm Coach Bose. That's Unbreakable. Have a good weekend and a good week. And